My name is Jessie Ace. I'm part of a group of enabled warriors that you've probably never heard of. We're fighting back against our invisible illness and taking the dis out of disability. We don't give sympathy to our symptoms. They enable us to be the warrior that we are. If you ask doctors and nurses, they'd say what we're doing is impossible. But pushing the limits of our conditions is something that we have to break through every single day. So we push the limits. We are mentally strong, and we can do anything. The question is, how far can we push those limits? This podcast will give you the answers. I'm Jessie Ace, and this is the Disabled to Enabled podcast. Hey Warriors, on today's show we have the amazing Jessica. She's founder of the startup Design for Disability, which is a design and consultancy service aimed at changing the face of how medical aid design is perceived in the public eye. I am so excited to talk to you today, Jessica. It's amazing to have you here. Hi.
Hi. Looking forward to this.
Welcome to the show. We're looking forward to it too. We're looking forward to all about hearing about all that you've done and all that you're about to do as well, because
yeah,
so inspiring. So tell us more about who you are and what you do day to day.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Jess. I run a design consultancy service called Design for Disability, which aims to kind of look at how you change the face of it aims to change the face of how medical design is perceived in the public eye through kind of designing collaboratively and not leaving anyone behind in the design process.
That's amazing as well, because like there are not many designers out there that are designing, cool things for disability. I mean, like I also, okay, before we go any further, I also actually don't like the word disability. I'm going to get that out now, yeah. Which is where the whole kind of enabled thing came from.
Yeah.
So yeah, literally just wanted to mention that. So okay, so you work in a kind of as a product designer and you run Design for Disability. So what's your kind of day-to-day life like?
Yeah, so I so kind of bringing you back to the very beginning, I set up this business through finding a mentor that I just happened to kind of come across at an event at City Hall, and he was running a business boot camp for 12 weeks called Urban MBA, and his name was Kofi Opong, and I kind of just went in, guns blazing, and I was like, okay, let's see what this is. I had no plan. I didn't know that I wanted to start a business. I found out that after these 12 weeks, there were, I think, about 20 applicants and about 15 places, and you were able to win 3 cash prizes, kind of 500 and 250. Again, I was kind of just focusing on my work and seeing where I could take, the idea, because at that time it was just an idea, it was a shell of an idea, and found out that I won 250 at the end of the 12 weeks. Which enabled me to then launch the business. I then, after the course ended, I used the money to kind of launch a pop-up shop that was based in Peckham for 5 days. That was really, really great, kind of in the heart of Peckham High Street. And just we were open kind of for 5 days, and we invited kind of industry professionals to come and give a talk about product design, what we do. We also gave some workshops, again run by some external companies, but again all focused around the area of inclusive design. And then found out that I got some really kind of quite interesting, not jobs from it, but kind of ideas and projects that kind of came about. And then I knew that this was a kind of something that could have, I could kind of get the ball rolling a bit. Mm-hmm. So I've ever since been kind of, just applying for funding, getting kind of more funding, and then producing a project. which has been really, really great. I've also been kind of from that, I guess I've been invited and open and kind of, I'm forgetting the word. I've been invited to kind of produce product design sessions at this other charity. So I've got kind of, what I'm trying to say is I've been able to gain loads of links from starting up a business, and those links have been able to propel me, I guess, to the next level. So yeah.
That's amazing, because you so on your website you have like a, what's the word, like a blog write-up of the pop-up shop that you did in Peckham. I read that before I came on, and it was just really inspiring, because I was just like, wow, like that's just just to have like a pop-up shop anyway is just like really cool.
That was the very, very, very first pop-up shop. And I kind of went in there going, I've got no idea how to do this, what do I do? And it just happens, and amazing result.
I think that's the best way to do things, though. I think the best way to go through life is just go, okay, let's do that, and then you kind of go, how am I going to do that?
Exactly. You don't really take the next step.
I really do, because I kind of decided, I'll start a podcast, that'd be amazing, and then I was like, how do we do that?
Exactly.
But you just figure it out on the way. So
exactly. And you find the tools of like how to manage that. And actually, it's amazing how kind of me being able to kind of start up something from scratch, not knowing how to do it, not knowing how I go about anything, basically, has really, a lot of people have kind of been interested in who I am, and connections and kind of new collaborations have formed through just me, starting up my own thing. And that has been a really great way of networking. That's the word I was looking for. Networking. And networking is key to, building any business. I've kind of been really quite bold with that. And I think that's how I've been able to, do my blogging and working for different companies, and just kind of, I guess, advertising myself as a, what's the word? Being a kind of figurehead, I guess, for what I'm doing, and inclusive design. And that's kind of what I'm trying to, my aim is to make, even in next 5 years or 10 years, I wish that all these medical items that users are given or patients are given, and that they either that have or that don't have a disability, I wish that they that there wasn't such a thing in the public eye, if that makes sense. Because I don't know how. I'm still yet to find out, how these products really came about. I know that it was kind of birthed, I guess, from the NHS or NHS context or environment, let's say. But there's a lot of kind of open discussions around design and inclusive design and what accessible design is, and
definitely. Because I think when you're kind of diagnosed with something, or when you have a kind of different limitation to other people, then having to use some of these aids, they kind of look worse than you don't kind of feel proud to use them, because they just look so like horrible and stuff.
Exactly. And they're stigmatizing, and nobody wants to be stigmatized.
No, exactly.
And it's like, for example, one way that I found quite an interesting way of looking at it was just like a badge. You're not the kind of model that I was brought up with was like, here's the product, you have to either just use it. There's no the only decision in design or color or whatever choice, the only choice you have is color.
Yeah,
that's it. and the colours, ranged in these horrible pastel colours. And it was just like, okay, here you go. This is the product. This is, is now with you for the rest of your life or whatever.
Yeah.
There was no sort of consultancy about, what do you want? What,
Yeah, exactly.
The function was there, and the function was great to be there, but there was no consultation with regards to design, how it felt, if you were comfortable in using it in public, and I think that's kind of how a kind of, what's the word? But that's how society is seen, or that's how, when you have a disability, I don't know, I don't know why, but this, my own personal kind of insights and research, that it's like having a disability is a negative thing, and it's not. It's the complete opposite. I was brought up to be a very outgoing, positive individual, and never. I was brought up to kind of never see anything as an obstacle, and I think because I was brought up in kind of that way, it's exciting for me to look back on these tools and these products, these kind of so-called aids that I use, and kind of say, well, how can we change? How can we change today?
Yeah, because they are like an extension of you, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
These things. I mean, like celebrities like Selma Blair, for example, have come out on the red carpet, and she's got her canes all stretched out, and she's like, "This is my accessory. Like, this is fantastic. I'm proud of this thing." Whereas I think we don't really kind of in kind of I don't know what you'd say, like at our sort of normal kind of person level, like away from celebrity land. Our things are kind of more, I don't know, plain and just kind of like
basic.
Yeah. It's like it's not as much like there's nothing special about it almost.
Yeah, and there's no kind of imagination that's gone behind it either.
Yeah, exactly. So, like for example, with MS, which is what I have, there's a lot of people who have drop foot. So they have these things called AFOs, which is do you know what an AFO is?
I've heard of them. I don't know enough about them.
Okay, so an AFO basically is it's almost like an insole almost, but it's not like a flat insole. It's like a bent insole, so it keeps your foot raised, and it kind of slips into your shoe and it helps you walk basically. And I was speaking to someone yesterday on my podcast, and she actually took it off and like showed it me on the camera, and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It was just kind of this like black brace type thing.
Oh, cool.
I was like, how awesome would it be to have like different patterns on that and have different colours and just have like, a bit of flair to it, make it more personalised to you. And I think if we did that, you'd be more proud of actually using it and actually telling people about it as well when you're out in public. So,
and also there'll be like a sense of ownership.
Yes.
You're owning something that is bespoke to you. That's kind of why I set up my business, which is is because there's no ownership when it comes to these products that get turned out on a daily basis or whatever, and it's I wanted to kind of have something that was unique to the user and something that the user felt comfortable with using and happy with using, and kind of it's not, having a disability is something to be proud of. It's not something to be not proud of. And I think that the products, should kind of emulate that, or kind of at least go with that, somehow. It's silly how so many years on, even now, we're talking about inclusive practices, and we're still talking about the thing about inclusion. It's also making sure everybody feels like they have a place in society.
Totally.
And I think that's also quite interesting. That I've found that to be quite interesting that I've kind of learned more about that through my blog writing, because that, you know, through blogging and kind of for companies, that has really enabled me to see and hear from, you know, other people's perspectives that may not have that voice that can, you know, that they need to be able to make a statement and make a say, but they have a voice through this, you know, through, they've got like a different outlet. Blogging is an outlet, that's what I say. Blogging is like a different outlet through
definitely
communication, and it's especially, you know, good if they don't want to be, if they want to kind of be not anonymous, you know, it's an anonymous outlet. And I also think it reaches a lot of people more in, you know, really good ways. Yeah,
definitely. It's really interesting. I mean, like, you've blogged for a lot of different companies as well. I mean, you've blogged for A New Direction and the Tate Exchange, and just like, it's amazing. So how did you get into that, and why did you get into that, do you think?
So that's an interesting question. So I kind of, at the beginning of, this is all kind of, you know, this is all like an idea that I had at the very beginning when I set up the company. I knew that getting unheard voices out there was very important to me. And I just advertised myself as an individual who had disability and was interested in writing in relation to or with art and art, design, disability, and kind of being able to advertise myself as that kind of person. I was then, you know, interested. You know, other people were interested in me. For me, like this, you know, this company called A New Direction, who I've been working with for a long time now, and a fantastic organisation to kind of work with getting young people into employment and within the creative industries, and they do a load of really, really cool and interesting stuff. And the types of work that I have done with them is that I've worked kind of with, in collaboration with the Tate Exchange. They have a special schools kind of cohort where they invite, I can't remember the total number, but it seems to grow every year. It was fantastic, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so impressed about how events go every year. I have been invited to, okay, the first time I was kind of working with them, I was invited to blog and kind of record a 5-day experience of Any Direction at the Tate Exchange with at that time about 19 special schools, 20 special schools, and all the students there that were there, you know, they had very diverse needs. Some, you know, who were non-verbal, but it was, you know, it was what amazed me was how the event was curated. So it was curated in a way that everybody, you know, everybody had their place at the Tate Exchange. You know, it was on the fifth floor of the Tate Exchange in Tate Modern, and it was like everyone had their own space to be themselves.
Oh, that's
and
so
that's
good.
what you want to kind of just feel in society.
Yeah.
You want to just be yourself. You know, there's so many people. There's so many things out there. You know, work and, you know, just generally day to day that are categorizing people into, you know, you do this, no, you do that. You know, this is not how you're meant to do it. This is, you know, and that's horrible, and especially, you know, I mean, for me anyway, you know, if I'm trying to make myself go into a box that I feel like I have to change myself in order to be in that box, that puts pressure on me, but it also like it kind of like kills down on my, you know, my what's the word? My independence. And that's I don't like being in those situations. Whereas at the Tate Exchange, the event that I was doing there, you could just be whoever you wanted to be, and space was curated in a way where you could kind of allow that to happen. I can remember the first event that I did there. We had spaces to record voices. There was loads of different things. There was like an inflation pod where you could go and just kind of make sounds.
Oh,
And
cool.
sound artists would weave together all these different sounds and then overlay them.
Oh.
And it would become this huge piece at the end. There was a lot of artwork where you could just kind of draw kind of, so like when you're at school you with like cars or like rubber cards you can just roll across the floor and make like it's just there's almost I'm almost overloaded by how much there was to kind of try and describe it all to you, but it's just kind of for me being able to blog about that, I'm kind of looking at it from a perspective which is I'm not embedding myself in the activities as such, but I'm observing the activities and I'm observing how these young people interact with them with activities and objects and sounds and the workshop, going back to the workshop, it was a soundscaping workshop. So she kind of collected all the sounds and all the bangs and knocks on the floor, the whole day's activities, a whole day's event, and just amalgamated it into one whole soundscape. And I was like, oh my god. Yeah, like it's I find it very it kind of warms my soul to in a way to kind of to be a part of those, because those events not only does it make me happy, but it's also a really great way, as I said, of learning about my audience. Or understanding more on a personal level rather than on a non-personal level, forced rather than, an unforced environment rather than a forced environment.
I think that makes a difference as well when you are designing products like you are for people with different abilities. You have to get to know those people, don't you? It's not a case of one size fits all. It's a very individualistic approach.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, what's it like to go to these events with a lot of different people with different abilities? I mean, is it quite scary at times? Is it quite kind of like, oh, how do I approach this person? How do I?
And actually, that was something that I wrote in one of the blogs that I did. I was trying to approach an activity, for example, that was going on, and there was about 3 or 4 wheelchair users, and they were non-verbal young people, and like I'm a Leo. I'm a very open, bubbly person. So I'm bounding, hi, how are you? And that was the complete wrong thing to do. And I learned my lesson. For that. I had to be very, very quiet, and I had to be very respectful to the sounds that I had made, because any kind of even just talking like now could really upset the child. So I had to be very I think I learned very quickly in that kind of split second, just how to not be myself for just 5 minutes. But that I mean that kind of that was for me it was a really wonderful experience, and I felt that I was kind of invited to, like they were inviting me to be a part of them rather than
Yeah,
the other way around.
that's lovely.
Yeah, and it was lovely. I in that kind of, yeah, as I say, that split, that split kind of 5 minutes, I learned how to kind of, how to be approachable in the right way,
Mm.
and in the way that everyone feels comfortable, rather than kind of everyone feeling quite shocked. There's a vast array of different abilities in the world,
Yeah.
and it's just how you approach, what your approach is. And I think that's why, that's quite a good link with society, and how, like there's a strong kind of phrase that I always hold with me. It's, the individual is not the individual that is disabled. It's society who is making the individual disabled.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I'm reminded of that a lot of the time. Approach situations like, or approach events like I do at the Tate, like today. So yeah, it's a really great experience.
Yeah, that's interesting. So how do you think as a society we could kind of break that down? How do you think we could make disability more inclusive? Do you think?
I think we just have to design more, or curate more events and more spaces where people can just be free, people can just be themselves. Because at the end of the day, as I said, if you've designed an environment where people have to adapt to, then that's immediately kind of disabling, let's say, anyone.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's about making your spaces and making your environments, adaptive and as inclusive as possible. And I think I learned that quite early on, and when I just left uni, I was working with this charity called Shape Arts for a bit, and they're a great charity that look at improving the access within the arts and cultural sectors. And so I learned kind of from quite early on, starting setting up how to create accessible and inclusive spaces where people feel comfortable. Rather than the other way around. But I think there just needs to be more, more events around London that have that kind of mindset.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would just help to kind of, the more people, more of the kind of general public, see accessible spaces and things, the more it becomes normalised.
Yeah, exactly.
The more it becomes normalised, the more it becomes more of an inclusive thing, and rather than like, oh, this is how we normally do things, and this is the disabled people that have to do everything differently. It becomes more of a one thing together, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that whole kind of segregation of, I'm disabled, I'm not disabled, that needs to stop.
That's what I say. I really don't like this word disabled that the society, I feel like, is labelled us with, and I almost felt like when I was first diagnosed, I was suddenly put on almost a reject pile, because I kind of feel like, I can't play with those people anymore. I can't go and do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? It felt very kind of isolated, and it, like I said before the interview, it came completely out of nowhere. So I was a happy, normal person one minute, and then I was suddenly given this disabled thing the next minute, and I was just like, well, I don't understand. I'm still the same person. Like, my body's doing something completely random at the moment, but I'm still me, right? But it's just so strange. So where did you kind of get your So you have a lot of passion for disability and things. I keep using this word disability, but I can't think
No,
of the word
I
to
know.
replace it with. It's really annoying. So you have a lot of passion for disability and things. Is that something that's a very personal thing in your life? Is that somewhere
So
that you have experience with?
yeah. So I was born with cerebral palsy, and again, kind of going back to how how I've been brought up. I was
Okay.
kind of brought up to be a very independent, very independent person.
Mm.
Kind of I can do whatever I want. So I never really felt like I had a disability. I was just like, this person that was jumping around, falling off things and banging my head and
Yeah.
coming back from school with like cuts and bruises on my,
That's a
arm.
normal kid,
I was
right?
like, oh, normal, yeah, I can be normal. I mean,
Yeah.
I even, just kind of from, working in I guess, uh, inclusive area for quite some time, I, what did I say? I've never seen myself as disabled until I kind of went into trying to work in the area of disability, which is weird.
Okay. Yeah, that is quite strange.
It's so weird. Like it's like I've had one of these weird kind of roller coaster rides. Growing up, kind of, growing up, I was kind of a carefree, young person, could do whatever I wanted.
Mm.
And then now, kind of learning more about, people who are differently abled. It was almost like, oh, like, it was like a bit of a, okay, this is why people are a little bit funny around me sometimes, and this is why, I may not be able to do this, and I may not be able to do that, and in a way, like it can be a positive and a negative thing. I am a very positive person, so I kind of, see these things and take these things kind of on the chin. Like it doesn't really affect me personally. So yeah, it's weird. Like I think because the reason why I wanted to set up the business was because I wanted to kind of find myself a bit
Okay.
in society.
Yeah.
Like now, as a 25-year-old, not as the kind of 17, 18-year-old. I kind of knew what I was. I almost knew what I was gonna do. Yeah, and I think that in a way is what's been quite exciting for me. Like when I left uni, I didn't really go into a normal day-to-day job like everyone else.
Mm.
So all of my peers did. I spent time in working with kind of charities that work in the area of inclusive practices, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I found it fascinating, and I think one of the reasons why I'm still sticking with it is because I want to eradicate this thing or this issue of of inclusivity, and why it's such, not like eradicate inclusivity because inclusivity is great, but like eradicate the thought of why people who have different abilities should be seen as this second class citizen, because it's wrong. It's
It
really
is wrong.
wrong.
It is. But I think it's a tricky one as well, because I think there's not enough education out there at the moment about all these different conditions for the general public to really learn from. So I don't think they really know how to approach somebody with a different ability when they come up to them. They kind of like, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to, and they think they panic, don't they?
Exactly. I mean, I think you picked up on a really great point. It's education, and it's not, a lot of what I've learned is that if schools, primary infant schools,
Yeah.
are not educated about disability and not given the opportunity to, tell, I guess, our disabled peers
Mm-hmm.
about inclusion and, just about kind of general inclusion, then there will just be this issue that, the more we grow up, the more we're just like, we keep categorizing people. It's the same, I guess, with the LGBT community. Like, there's been a lot of discussion about that, and I think that, like, I personally think the LGBT, like, I'm not kind of discriminatory or kind of saying it's wrong, but I think the LGBT community there's been more like public speaking, and there's been more open discussion about inclusion within the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
In this, as opposed to, again, the disabled community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like, it's got a lot of work. There's a lot of work that has to be done. There was an event that I went to as part of the WOW Festival at the South Bank, I think about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about inclusion and design, the design industries and inclusion, or not even design industries, just industries in general and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 7 people on the panel, all talking about inclusion. And there was there was about 3 different people from the LGBTQ plus community. Like, there was a whole range of different, there was a whole range of different people on the panel. But yet nobody there that had a disability.
Mm.
And yet they were talking about inclusion.
Mm.
And I kind of felt cheated a bit. I was like,
yeah, I totally get that.
You're talking about inclusion, and you're talking about diversity, and you're talking about how people have to meet a certain level of diversity, and that there's so many different people in the world, and there's this point of view, this point of view, this point of view, this point of view.
Mm.
But yet you're cutting out almost the biggest, what's the word, consumer population in the world on your panel. Like, there's nobody on your panel. Like, there's nobody on your panel that has disability. Nobody on the panel that is even talking about disability.
Mm.
And that I was shocked, and I was more annoyed and kind of actually, excuse my language, but kind of pissed off in a way, because I felt kind of hard done by it,
Oh yeah, because you can't have a panel like that with discussing the needs of people who need different needs without having somebody on the panel that needs different needs. If that makes any sense.
Exactly. There's no sense.
My brain really scrambled that up, but I hope that makes sense.
No, I completely, I think I kind of understand more scrambled up things than normal.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. Wow, yeah. We've discussed some really heavy stuff today.
Yeah,
shall we a little bit?
Gone in a bit deep.
I've loved it though. I've really loved it. I find it fascinating. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready for some super quick secrets round?
Yes, please.
This is literally my favourite round of the show. It allows us to get to know you a little bit more as the guest.
Yeah. Yay.
Okay, so here are some really random questions coming at you. What is the most inspiring book that you've ever read?
Oh. Well, I'll tell you a book that I read this is a book that I read that really kickstarted, actually, the first book I ever read that kickstarted where I am at now. And what I'm doing. And it's called Design Meets Disability.
Okay.
From the author Graham Pullen.
I'm just going to write that down over here.
Yeah, that was the first book that kind of really made me like, oh, there's this issue that I have to tackle. You know, there's nobody else out there. Like, I need to do it. That was the first book that kind of changed my life a bit in terms of having to, start kickstarting a business because of it.
Yeah,
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that answer. I'm gonna have a look at that after. Okay, what is your favourite comfort food?
Comfort food.
Mm-hmm. I'm all about food on here.
Oh, I'm getting hungry now. Oh, I'll say sushi.
Sushi, interesting.
Sushi or Indian?
Oh, I love Indian food.
Yeah. Sushi or Indian? They're too
Nice.
good. Yeah.
Okay, now you're making me hungry. Okay, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever done?
Wow, the weirdest thing.
I love this question. I've had some brilliant answers.
What is the weirdest thing I've ever done? Well, weird in what context? That's quite a hard one. I don't even. I'll have to think about that.
Okay, do you want me to come back to that at the end?
Yeah, come back to that one. I'm gonna have to think about that. The weirdest. It's a hard question. Come back to that one. I'll have an answer.
Okay, what is your favourite place that you've ever visited?
In the world or in the UK or
Anywhere, absolutely
anywhere?
anywhere.
My favourite place. I think I'm gonna have to say Korea. Seoul, South Korea. Yeah.
Wow.
I've got some friends that live up there, and I've been there now a couple of times. But the first time I was there, I was really like, this is a different culture. Like, it's a cultural shock, but it's also like an amazing. Yeah, it's an amazing place. I haven't been kind of around it a lot, but yeah, Seoul is an
amazing.
Great place.
I'd love to go there. What kind of place is it like?
Well, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. I was there, not funny, but I'll tell you a story. I was there with my friend that lives there. I think it was like the first time that I went there, and it was the first day, and we went up to a shop, and it was a shop selling tea.
Ooh, that's my kind of shop.
There was so many different selections of tea, and I was like, oh, can we taste some? Can we buy some? And then we kind of got sent upstairs, and we just kind of sat in this cafe, and it absolutely tipped down with rain. It was chucking it down with rain.
Oh wow!
The rain outside was like it was almost like a monsoon. It was crazy, and it was just like, I'm in heaven, and I'm also in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
Luckily I was with my friend, but yeah, it was just an amazing experience.
Oh,
there was a lot of weird experiences. There's a lot of weird experiences in there as well. Kind of on that trip. Yeah, that was my best day. At that time.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love it. Okay, are you a dog person or a cat person? This divides everybody.
This is so hard. Oh, so I've lived with cats all my life.
Yeah.
And our latest cat, our kind of cat that we've had that's still around that we've got is called Mr. Bubbles.
Oh, that's such a cute name.
He's a black British short hair, kind of really big, fluffy white, ball of fluff.
Oh.
But having said that, I have always wanted a dog. And I used to have, you can't see it now, I cut my hair, but I used to have, a really, really large afro.
Cool.
And I used to say that I really wanted a poodle, poodle to kind of match my hair.
Oh, that's cute. I like
that. That I'm still counting on that. In a couple of years, like when I sort myself out a bit and kind of
Oh, that's really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
You'll get one day. You get your
one day. Yeah. hoping, praying. Well, fine. Yeah.
Okay, what's the scariest thing that you think you've ever done?
Oh, the
That's a
scariest
tricky
thing
one.
that I've ever done, or the scariest. Okay, so I've got two. I've got a funny story. I've got a not funny story about kind of being scared. I think personally, the scary thing that I've ever done is probably traveling alone. I know that might
Okay.
sound quite small,
No,
but
that's
to me, that's like to me, that's like it's like a level of independence that I kind of had, and that was great. And that was actually when I travelled to Korea the first time, and that was what
wow.
18-hour flight. How many? No, 9-hour flight, 10-hour flight. I think that was quite frightening for me, but that was everyone always says you get out of your comfort zone,
Oh
the more
yeah,
you go out
definitely.
your comfort zone, the better,
Yeah.
life you'll have. What the other stories have said, what I was scared by is that we were traveling. We were in Italy, and we were near Mount Vesuvius, which is one of the volcanoes.
Oh.
We're at the bottom of the kind of volcano, and met some people down there, and they were like, "Oh, we're talking about how the volcano kind of erupted. Is it active or is it non-active?"
Mhm.
And we heard all these stories, and it was not active at all. But then this family, down below was like, "Oh no, this is an active volcano." And we're like, "Have you had many eruptions?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, we had one about a week ago."
Oh
And
my
so
goodness.
I was like, "Okay, we're going to be climbing this in like 5 minutes." So we
Oh wow.
drove the car up, and then we walked up a bit. And I'm probably very sensitive to like any small sound, even if it's a pin drop. Like I jump. I heard this rumbling at the behind me, like a
Oh
big yard
gosh.
sound, and I was in pieces. I was
Oh no.
crying my eyes out. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be there." I had like a full blown, panic attack, and I was just like, I think my mother captured quite a good photo of me, just like crying, and he was laughing because he was laughing because the sound that I was so scared about was literally a car just coming up
Oh
the pebbled, the stony path
yeah.
behind us. It was just a car. I thought that it was the volcano erupting,
Oh no.
hence why the tears.
I can see
And
why you thought that. I mean.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
that was my scariest probably. Yeah, I can't think of anything else other than uh, an experience that we had in Korea, which was all about, when you're in Korea, there was all these like fish, went to like a fish shop, like all the tanks were open,
Oh, okay.
and we were like, so what's gonna happen? We're hungry or blah, not knowing that 5 minutes later we were sent upstairs, and on our plates were these wiggling fish that were
Oh
alive.
my gosh. No
We had
way.
to consume one go, and I was like, okay,
Oh.
okay, okay. Take a deep breath and just kind of go, and I was like, okay, yeah.
Oh.
That was another kind of weird experience for me. It was an experience, an experience for sure.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's like crazy experience. Oh wow. Okay.
glad,
What's your-
glad that you met me now.
Love that story. That's great. So it's sort of funny what people come out with for that story. I've had people say like, "Oh, I ran a marathon naked," or I got accidentally famous for rolling toilet rolls down an aisle in a supermarket.
Wow.
I love that question. It is the best. So what is your favourite hobby?
My favourite hobby? Well, I used to sing.
Oh.
I kind of stopped singing when I started an art degree. But I haven't really kind of reconnected with that, more yet. But one thing that I have kind of followed through since I was, a young child is horse riding.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Horse riding, I love horse riding. And I think I need to do a bit more of that. So yeah, that's a hobby.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
I've been twice, and the last time that I went, it was in France, and it was just incredible because they took us through a forest on a horse. Have you ever been through a forest on a horse? It's an experience.
Yeah.
So it's like really low hanging branches and stuff, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I've literally got to like hug this horse. It's really weird. And there was one point where there was like this little hill that kind of went up, and there was a lake on the other side, and my horse decided to go up this and then just jump off straight into the
no!
Oh God, what are you doing? Oh my God. So that was probably the scariest thing for me, to be honest.
Oh dear. Well.
Amazing. Is there a hobby that you've ever, if you wanted to try out but you've not quite done it yet?
I think I'd like to go backpack traveling, like to see
okay.
what it feels like. I mean, I'm kind of like trying to plan a trip, to be honest, around Southeast Asia. But I'm a bit scared, like doing a kind of full-on backpack.
Yeah.
If I'll be okay and if I'll manage it. But another fun experience that I kind of tested out, but I think I know if I do it again up here, I'll do it. I'll go on to the next level. Is I'm making it sound so big, so much bigger than it already is. I did some kneeboarding.
Okay.
And what I'd love to do is kind of go the full on, behind the boat. Is it called wakeboard? No, not wakeboarding. Like when you're being pulled, I've forgotten the word. When you're being pulled by a speedboat and you're on a
where you go up as well, and
yeah, exactly. Where you're not kneeboarding, you're standing up. You're standing up kneeboarding on being pulled by a speedboat. Yeah,
amazing.
That's what I'd love to do.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of really interesting places around the world that I just love to go and visit and be like, oh my God.
Yeah, definitely.
Just, struck by in a good way. Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, there are amazing places around the world, and sometimes you've just got to kind of break out your comfort zone, like you say, and just go and do it. Just go and experience something.
Exactly.
Oh, it's been so lovely to chat to you today. If I can get my words out. It's been lovely to meet you and hear everything that you're doing. It's just fantastic. So slightly odd question to finish, but what is the best thing, do you think, about having a different ability, a handicap?
The best thing is having a unique view on the world and of life. There's a lot of non-disabled people who have said to me, just you look at the world in a really good way.
Yeah.
A different kind of angle, which has made it unique, and it's made it, amazing. There's even if you design, if you're a designer, if you're a scientist, if you're whatever, and you just continuously follow the same set of rules over and over again, things can get a bit boring. And it's not until somebody with a unique perspective comes in and kind of changes, changes. Take, for example, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is this multi-billionaire, who from the seed of an idea had, came this amazing life. and and actually, I'll tell you, a lot of the great, and you probably know, a lot of the greatest millionaires and billionaires out there are dyslexic. And they've used their power of having dyslexia in a way that has seen them grow, millions of pounds, billions of pounds, know.
Exactly.
So
they literally take it and make it
having
power, don't they? I love that.
Exactly. Having a different ability has a unique perspective on life, and I think you should kind of own that. Try and own that. I'm learning how to own that, basically.
Amazing. I love that. That's amazing. It really is. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on as a guest today. It's just been amazing.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Enabled Warriors listening, you can connect with Jessica on Twitter and Instagram with the handle D_disability, and on Facebook and LinkedIn type in Design for Disability and you can search for Jessica there. So thank you so much. Oh, and you've got your main website as well, designfordisability.co.uk, so go and check that out. Go and read Jessica's blogs because it's just like so inspiring. It's amazing, and just go find out about everything that she's doing.
Follow.
And it's so cool. So thank you so much for talking to us today. And remember, warriors, stay enabled.
If you want to fight back against your invisible illness and help take the dis out of disability, then join the tribe on Facebook, facebook.com/enabled warriors. If you love this podcast, click that subscribe button and never miss another episode. And remember, warriors, stay enabled.